I died, choking on my own blood. The metallic tang flooding my mouth as the elevator cables snapped, and I plummeted 30 stories into the abyss of that godforsaken Manhattan high-rise. Betrayed by the man I loved. The company I built from nothing. And the sister I never knew hated me enough to rig the sabotage. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button. Slamming me back into my 28-year-old body. Heart pounding in the HR conference room. 3 months before the fall. With the bitter aftertaste of coffee still on my tongue and a folder labeled termination package clutched in my sweating hands. The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets overhead, and I could hear the distant hum of printers in the hallway of Apex Innovations headquarters on Wall Street. It was July 15th, 2023, or so my foggy brain insisted. But I knew better now. I'd lived this day before, the polite smiles masking venom, the scripted lines about restructuring and performance metrics. In my first life, I'd signed the papers, walked out broken, and spiraled into the trap that ended with me smeared as the villain. This time, fuck that. This time, Emily Harper was coming back swinging. I stared at Sarah, my HR rep, a mousy brunette with a fake tan and eyes like a shark's, cold, calculating. She slid the folder across the table, her manicured nails clicking against the laminate. Emily,
we're so sorry about this.
It's not personal. The board's decision. Not personal? Bullshit. I knew the emails they'd buried. The ones proving I'd been framed for embezzling client funds. My fiancé, Jake, and my stepsister, Lila, partners in crime, literally had cooked the books to cover their affair and their side hustle siphoning millions into offshore accounts. I discovered it all too late, and they'd silenced me with that elevator accident. My hands trembled, but not from fear. Rage boiled up, hot and familiar, like swallowing napalm. I flipped open the folder, scanning the termination letter. There it was, my employee photo, the one from my first week, smiling, optimistic Emily, fresh out of Wharton with dreams of revolutionizing fintech. Underneath, in bold red, terminated. Do not rehire. They were going to blast this to every recruiter in New York, poison my career before it even hit the ground. In my past life, it had worked. I'd bounced from temp job to temp job, drowning in debt and bourbon, until desperation led me back to Apex for one last shot, straight into the elevator shaft. Not signing, I said, my voice steady, laced with the steel I'd forged in hell. Sarah blinked, her smile faltering. Emily, this is standard. You have 30 days to appeal. But I stood, shoving the folder back at her. Appeal? Save it. I'm walking out now, and you're going to delete that photo from the system. Or else. Her laugh was nervous. A tinkling bell in a storm. Or else what? You can't threaten. I leaned in, close enough to smell her vanilla body spray. Or else I hit send on the whistleblower report I've got queued up.
Sick.
FBI. The works. You think the board wants their dirty laundry aired on CNN? It was a bluff. I didn't have the files yet. Not in this timeline. But the fear in her eyes told me it landed. She stammered something about consulting legal, but I was already out the door, heels clicking down the marble corridor like gunshots. The lobby was a hive of suits and briefcases, the air thick with the scent of overpriced coffee from the cart. I paused by the revolving doors, heart hammering. Reincarnation. Second chance. Revenge. The words looped in my skull like a mantra. I'd clawed my way up at Apex from intern to VP of operations in 5 years, only to be gutted by the two people I trusted most. Jake, with his boyish grin and promises of forever, fucking Lila behind my back while they bled the company dry. Lila, my dad's trophy wife's daughter, the little sister I'd mentored, who'd planted the forged transactions in my name. Their secret? A Ponzi scheme targeting elderly retirees, promising safe investments while funneling cash to their Cayman accounts. I'd found the ledger on a forgotten server, confronted them, and boom, elevator plunge.
But now?
I had 3 months to unravel it all, expose them without ending up dead again. First stop, my apartment on the Upper East Side, to dig up the digital trail before they scrubbed it. I hailed a cab, the yellow beast screeching to the curb, and slid in, barking 77th and Lex. The driver, a grizzled guy with a Yankees cap, eyed me in the rear view. Rough day. Lady, you have no idea. I pulled out my phone, fingers flying. Delete all Apex apps. Change passwords. Enable two-factor on everything. By the time we hit a snarl of traffic on the FDR, I'd emailed myself backups from my work laptop, synced just hours ago. Thank God for muscle memory. Home was a pre-war walk-up. All crown molding and creaky floors. Rent-controlled miracle in a city that ate dreamers alive. I dumped my bag, kicked off my pumps, and booted up my personal rig, a beast of a desktop I'd built myself. Dual monitors glowing like twin suns. Coffee brewing. Blask as my muet.
I dove.
The server access was still live. They hadn't locked me out yet. Folders upon folders of financials. And there, buried in a subdirectory labeled Archival, the anomalies. Transfers to shell companies. Timestamps matching Jake's late nights and Lila's girls' trips. A knock at the door jolted me. Through the peephole, Jake, all 6-foot charm in his Brooks Brothers suit, holding a bouquet of lilies like some rom-com prop.
Ain't, babe.
Open up. Sarah called, said you stormed out. What's going on? My stomach twisted. In the before, he'd sweet-talked me back to the office that afternoon. All apologies and we'll fix this. Then, over wine at our favorite spot in Soho, he'd slipped the roofie that made me pliable for the elevator setup. This time, I cracked the door just enough. Not now.
Jake.
I need space. His brow furrowed. Perfect actor. Space? After they fire you? Come on. Let's talk. I pulled strings to get you that promotion last quarter.
Lies.
All of it. But I played along, stepping aside.
Fine.
1 drink. He breezed in, setting the flowers on the counter, pouring Merlot with practiced ease. You're overreacting. It's a bump. Lila's on the board now. She can vouch for you. Lila. The name soured the air. My stepsister, 10 years my junior, who'd wormed into Apex via nepotism, then clawed her way to CFO with Jake's help. Their affair started at the company Christmas party. Mistletoe and malice. I sipped the wine, watching him over the rim. Tell me about the Cayman transfers.
Jake.
His hand froze mid-pour. What? That's client stuff. Confidential. Bullshit. I set the glass down, pulling up the ledger on my laptop. His face drained of color as the number scrolled. $2.3 million vanished. Funneled through Apex to Harbor Investments, a ghost entity tied to his family trust. You and Lila. How long? He laughed. But it cracked. You're paranoid.
Eminencia.
Stress from the job. He reached for me,
But I sidestepped.
grabbing my phone. One call. SEC tip line. Your career's over. Panic flickered in his eyes. The mask slipping. You don't have proof. It's all above board. Liar. I had the IPs. The emails he deleted but not deep enough. In my past life,
Ideas y tata.
loved him too much to pull the trigger. This time, get out.
Jake.
Or I hit send. He lunged, not for the door, for the laptop. We grappled, wine spilling like blood across the rug, his fingers clawing at the keyboard. You bitch. You think you can ruin us.
Us.
There it was, the truth. I kneed him in the groin. Hard. And he doubled over.
Gasping.
Out. He staggered to the door, spitting venom. You'll regret this, Emily. No one crosses us. The slam echoed like a gunshot. I locked it, triple-checked, then sank to the floor, adrenaline crashing. 3 months. I had to move fast. Next morning, dawn breaking over the East River in smears of pink and gold. I was at a cyber cafe in Midtown, untraceable. Cash only. VPN layered triple thick. I uploaded the files to a burner drive. Then pinged an old Wharton contact, Marcus Hale, investigative journalist at the New York Times. Anonymous source. Apex fraud. Check attachments. His reply buzzed back in minutes. Holy shit. Meeting. Noon. The Lambs Club. The club was old money incarnate, leather armchairs, cigar smoke, whispers of deals that shaped empires. Marcus waited in a corner booth. Wire-rimmed glasses and a notebook that screamed Pulitzer bait. Mid-40s. Sharp as a tack. He'd owed me a favor since I tipped him off on a pharma scandal in grad school. Emily Harper. The whistleblower returns. He slid a scotch my way. This is dynamite. But dangerous. You sure? Dangerous? I died once. Print it. Front page. We hashed details over steak tartare. Redact my name for now. Focus on the shell companies. Interview ex-employees I'd line up. By the time I left, the plan crystallized. Expose the fraud. Drag Jake and Lila into the light. Watch them burn. But Apex didn't sleep. My phone lit up with blocked calls. HR. Legal.
Jake.
Then a text from an unknown number. You think you can play hero? Watch your back. Lila. I blocked it. But unease nod. They were schemers. Pros at cover-ups. In the before, they'd smeared me as unstable. A jilted lover hallucinating conspiracies. This time,
Idepram.
week 1 blurred into a frenzy. I crashed with a cousin in Brooklyn, ditched my SIM for a prepaid, and haunted public libraries for research. The buried secret? Not just the Ponzi, it tied to something uglier. Digging deeper, I uncovered Jake's dad, a retired senator with ties to organized finance scams. The mistake I'd suffered? Taking the fall for a $500,000 error in my first big project, which was actually their test run for the bigger heist. I trusted them, covered for Lila's oversight, and it branded me the screw-up. Controversy brewed fast. Marcus's teaser article dropped midweek. Fintech giant Apex under fire. Insider alleges multi-million fraud. Twitter, X, whatever, exploded. Apex scam trended, with baristas and brokers alike piling on. Apex stock dipped 8%, and Jake called from a spoofed line. Voice oily. Come back.
Eminencia.
We can settle this quietly. I still love you.
Love.
The word twisted like a knife. Settle? Like the elevator? Silence. Then click. He knew. Somehow, he knew I'd remembered. By week 2, the feds circled. I met my handler in a Starbucks off Park Avenue, Agent Reyes, FBI. No-nonsense Latina with a badge that gleamed like judgment. She'd been the one in my past life. Showing up too late. Piecing together the accident after my body hit the pavement. Now, MS. Harper, your tip checks out. But going public? That's burning bridges before we build the case. Bridges? I laughed bitterly, stirring my latte. They torched mine first. Reyes leaned in, voice low. We need wiretaps, not headlines. Cooperate, and we protect you.
Protect.
In the before, protection came as a body bag. But I nodded. Controversial decision 1. Go undercover. Bait them into confessing on tape. The sting op launched that Friday. I reached out to Lila via a dummy email, playing broken and desperate. Cease. I was wrong. Let's talk. Dinner at Balthazar? She bit. Hard, eager to gloat.
You bet.
The bistro buzzed with the after-work crowd, accordion music weaving through clinking glasses. Lila arrived in Louboutins and a sheath dress that screamed Victor, air-kissing my cheeks.
Ain't.
You look tired. Rough week. We ordered escargot and Bordeaux. Small talk skating over ice. The wire itched under my blouse. Reyes's team parked across the street. About the money, I ventured, feigning shame. I know I messed up. But Jake said, we could fix it together. Her eyes lit.
Predatory. Oh.
Honey. It's bigger than that. Dad's old connections. It's a network.
But you?
You're toxic now. That article? Amateur hour. She leaned closer, wine loosening her tongue. We had to cut you loose. The elevator was unfortunate, but necessary. There it was. Confession. Gold-plated. I pressed, heart thundering. Necessary? You mean murder? Lila waved it off. Hyperbole. Jake handled the cables, loose ends. You know. The table felt like a guillotine. Reyes burst in minutes later, cuffs glinting, as diners gawked. Federal agents. Lila Voss. You're under arrest. Chaos erupted, screams, flashes from phones. Lila thrashed, screeching. She's lying. Family betrayal. But the tape rolled. Irrefutable. Jake turned himself in that night, sniveling about immunity. The twist? He flipped on his father, unraveling a web that snared half the Senate Finance Committee. Weeks blurred into vindication. Trials dragged through fall. Headlines crowning me the fintech fury. Controversial? Hell yes, I'd leaked redacted docs to Marcus mid-trial, swaying public opinion when the judge gagged the press. Ethics be damned. Justice wasn't polite. Apex crumbled. Assets seized. Retirees reimbursed from the slush fund. By December, snow dusting Central Park. I stood on my old balcony, apartment reclaimed, career phoenix rising with headhunters begging. Reyes dropped by with champagne. You did good, Harper. Changed the game. But as fireworks popped over the skyline, a chill hit. Jake's last letter from lockup. Second chances are illusions.
Eminencia.
Watch the shadows. I crumpled it, but sleep evaded. Reincarnation's gift was revenge, but its curse? Paranoia. Was this the end? Or just Act 1? The new year dawned crisp and unforgiving. January 2024, wrapping Manhattan in a straitjacket of ice and ambition. I'd landed at Vanguard Tech as Chief Compliance Officer, irony thick as fog off the Hudson, overseeing ethics in a firm that actually gave a damn. Six-figure salary, corner office with Hudson views, and a security detail courtesy of the feds, who treated me like a prized informant. Life rebooted.
Or so it seemed.
But revenge? That fire never banked. It smoldered, waiting for wind. Mornings started with therapy, mandatory post-trauma, but useful.
Dr.
Ellis, a silver-haired shrink with a Brooklyn accent that cut through bullshit, probed the edges of my delusion. Emily. This past life narrative, it's common in PTSD. Flashbacks as metaphor. Metaphor my ass. I described the elevator scream, the snap of steel, the betrayal's afterburn. She nodded, scribbling, but her eyes said skeptic.
Fine.
I didn't need validation. I had receipts, the scars on my psyche, invisible but etched deep. Work was a battlefield of board meetings and audits, but I thrived, channeling the rage into reforms that made Vanguard bulletproof. No more Ponzi shadows. I installed AI watchdogs that sniffed fraud like bloodhounds. Colleagues whispered whistleblower witch, half admiring, half fearing.
1.
A sharp VP named Theo, divorced dad, dry wit, cracked my shell over after-hours ramen in K-Town. Your force, Harper. But you carry it like armor. What's under the plate? Trust? A relic. But Theo's persistence wore me down. Dinners turned to weekends in the Hamptons. His cabin a rustic escape from city grind. For the first time since the reset, I let guard slip, laughs over lobster rolls. His hand steady on mine during a storm. You're not broken.
De murmur.
You're forged. Maybe. But Jake's ghost lingered. His trial photos haunting my feed, hollow-cheeked, pleading not guilty to conspiracy and manslaughter. Lila's case was uglier. She lawyered up with Daddy's old cronies, spinning a tale of coercion. The vengeful ex. Planting evidence. Tabloids ate it. Stepsister's savage showdown. Who's the real villain? Controversy peaked when I testified. Voice steady under fluorescent glare. She said it herself. Necessary. The elevator was no accident. Gasps rippled. Lila's glare could curdle milk. The jury bought it. Guilty on all counts. 25 to life. As marshals led her away, she hissed. This isn't over.
Eminencia.
Blood's thicker.
Blood.
Our tie was paper-thin, my dad's midlife crisis wedding to her mom. A union of Botox and boardrooms. But she'd weaponized it, playing family card until the mask cracked. Post-verdict, I visited her in Rikers. Chain link between us like a confessional. Why? Lila? I gave you everything, internship, mentorship. Her laugh echoed off cinderblock. Gave? You lorded it. Big sis. Always the golden girl. Jake saw me, really saw. You were just in the way. Venom.
Pure.
I left lighter. The knot untied. Forgiveness?
No.
Closure? Close enough. Spring thawed the city. Cherry blossoms mocking winter's bite. Vanguard threw a gala at the Met. Black ties schmooze under dinosaur bones. I wore emerald silk, Theo's arm a warm anchor. But midway through toasts, my phone vibrated. Reyes. Harper. Loose end.
Meet. Urgent.
Dread pooled. The loose end was Harlan Voss, Lila's uncle, a shadow financier who dodged the net. Jake's flip had nicked him, but not enough. Reyes waited in a dive bar off Houston, neon flickering over her badge. Harlan's moving assets. Your name came up threat in a burner chat. Finish what Lila started. My blood iced. Second chance. My foot. Death clung like smoke. Protection upgraded, she said. But you need to bait him. Go public again. Interview with 60 Minutes. Draw him out. Controversial? Understatement. Theo begged off. You're healed. Don't poke the bear. Healed, scars itched. But I nodded to Reyes. Book it. The interview aired prime time. Me in a power suit, recounting the betrayal blow by blow, no holds barred. They didn't just steal money, they stole lives. Mine included. Ratings soared. Emily Rising trended. Memes of me as avenging angel. Harlan bit hard. A tail on my detail. A brick through my window with a note. Elevators aren't the only drop. Panic mode. I moved to Theo's for safety. His place a fortified brownstone in the village. Nights blurred into strategy sessions. Reyes wiring me for sound. Prepping decoys. The plan, fake a leak. Accidentally expose Harlan's Panama Papers in a Vanguard audit. Risky could tank my job, invite lawsuits. But sitting duck? Worse. May hit like a freight train. Harlan surfaced at a charity auction in the Hamptons, white whale in a tux. Schmoozing donors. I was their undercover. Gown hiding the mic. Theo posing as date. Bid on the Monet, Reyes whispered via earpiece. I did. Driving the price to 6 figures. Drawing Harlan's eye. Post-auction. He cornered us on the veranda. Ocean crashing below like applause. MS. Harper. The scourge of Wall Street. His voice was silk over razor, 70s. Silver fox with eyes like oil slicks. Admirable.
Your.
Persistence.
Theo tên xét bê xài me.
But I smiled. Cool as the rail. Mr.
Voss.
Or should I say,
Señor Panama?
nice shell game. His chuckle chilled. Bold. But boldness gets you buried. The threat hung. Bait swallowed. We slipped away. Fed swooping. By dawn, raids hit his estates, Harlan in cuffs. Empire crumbling. Twist, his ledger named names, senators, CEOs. A sitting governor. The scandal dwarfed apex. Front page Armageddon. Vanguard celebrated. I got a raise. A key to the executive washroom. Theo proposed over rooftop brunch. Ring glinting like promise. Marry me.
Eminencia.
Build something real. Heart swelled. Second chance at love. I said yes. Tears salting mimosas. But as summer scorched, a shadow loomed. Anonymous email. You think it's over? Check the family album. Attached, scans of old photos, me as a kid. Dad's wedding. Lila's birth announcement. Buried beneath, a birth certificate. Not Lila's.
Mine.
Emily Voss Harper. Adopted. Harlan's daughter. The secret they'd chiseled away. I was blood. The ultimate betrayal. They'd raised me as pawn. Discarded as threat. Rage reignited. But whose revenge now? Summer 2024 sizzled like a bad bet. Humidity turning New York into a steam bath of regrets. The revelation hit harder than the elevator. Me, Emily Voss. Harlan's dirty little secret. Smuggled into my dad's life to launder his image post-divorce scandal. A rehabilitated family man adopting the orphan from his mistress's affair. Lila knew. Jake too. They'd bonded over the lie. Using it to pull strings. I'd been the mark all along. My success, a prop for their facade. Theo found me in the brownstone study, curled over the prints like they were venomous.
Ing,
Talk to me. His embrace anchored. But words failed. How to explain the fracture?
I'm
Poison. Voss blood. He pulled back. Eyes searching. Blood doesn't define. Actions do. Your scream, survivor. Survivor. Maybe. But the feds wanted more. Harlan singing like a canary. Trading secrets for leniency. Reyes called. He's naming you as beneficiary. Offshore trust.
50,000 pesos.
Claim it or lose it to forfeiture. Claim? Tainted fortune. Built on bones. Controversial decision 2. Take the money. Fund a victim's foundation. Or burn it all in a public pyre. I chose fire. Press conference. Live on CNBC. Shredding the docs. This isn't inheritance. It's hush money. For the lives it ruined. I reject it. Backlash roared. Pundits called it grandstanding. Harper's martyr act. Hypocrite or hero? Social media split. Burn the money trended with fist emojis. But trolls dubbed me entitled exile. Theo stood firm. But cracks showed. His ex used it in custody battles, painting me as unstable. Kids need stability. Not scandals, her lawyer sneered in court filings. Stability. The word mocked as I lawyered up, fighting for a future with Theo's twins. Fall foliage turned fiery, mirroring the blaze. Harlan's trial loomed, a circus in federal court downtown. I testified again. This time as daughter, DNA confirmed, splashed across headlines, fintech fraudster's secret heir, Emily Harper's shocking ties. The stand felt like a coliseum. Harlan's gaze paternal poison. She was always ambitious, he drawled to jurors. Like her old man. I fired back. Ambitious? I exposed you. That's not legacy. That's justice. Jury deliberated 3 days. Guilty. Life without parole. Cheers erupted outside. But inside?
Hello.
Lila, from her cell, sent a smuggled note. Daddy's girl now? Enjoy the crown.
Sis.
It's thorns. Thorns indeed. Nightmares returned. Elevator plummets morphing into family portraits where faces twisted into snarls. Vanguard sensed blood. Board whispering of reputational risk. CEO called me in. View of the battery like a taunt. Emily, you're gold. But this Voss mess. Optics. Optics. Code for your liability. I quit before they could fire me. Walking out with severance and a non-disparage clause. Freedom tasted like ash. Theo proposed we relocate Seattle. Fresh start. His firm's branch. Leave the ghosts behind.
Ghosts.
They clung like humidity. But revenge's echo whispered, unfinished.
Jake.
Out on appeal bond. Vanished post-release. Whispers of witness tampering. Bodies in the Hudson, unrelated. Feds said, but doubt festered. I hired a PI. Ex-NYPD, named Rocco. Grizzled and greedy. $50K. Harper. I'll dig. He did. Jake holed up in Atlantic City, running a boiler room scam targeting Vanguard retirees. Irony looped. Road trip south. Theo driving our rented Escalade. Windows down to salt air. This vigilante shit ends after.
Eminência.
Vigilante.
Fair.
Atlantic City glittered false. Boardwalks teeming with suckers. Rocco tailed us to a seedy casino. Jake holding court in a backroom poker den, thinning hair. Desperate eyes. I confronted him alone.
Mickey den.
Reyes looped in remotely.
Jake.
He's startled. Cards scattering.
Ain't.
Christ. You look haunted. What do you want? Parole officer. Justice. I slid photos across the bays, his new victims, pensioners fleeced. Same game, different board. Tired yet? He sneered, but sweat beaded. You ruined everything. Harlan's empire. Lila's freedom, because of your precious truth.
Truth.
Our poison. We talked hours. Tape rolling, confessions tumbling like dominoes. His appeal? Bought with Voss cash. The murders? Hired muscle to silence snitches. I did it for us.
Eminência.
Once.
Us.
The lie that killed me. Feds stormed at dawn. Jake in zip ties. Howling betrayal anew. Back in the city. Triumph soured. Theo's custody hearing loomed. Judge eyed my high-profile entanglements warily. MS. Harper. Your lifestyle, it's volatile. Volatile. For loving too hard. Fighting too fierce? I testified. Voice cracking. I want to be their stepmom. Not headline. I've lost enough family. 1. Shared custody. Probationary. Theo kissed me fierce. We did it. But winter whispered warnings. December 2024. Anniversary of my death day. Snow blanketed the park. Skaters gliding like dreams. I walked alone. Breath fogging. When my phone buzzed unknown. Video link. Clicked. Grainy footage.
Elevator cam. Me.
Past life self. Stepping in. Smiling at Jake's text. Then, cables fraying. Unnatural. But freeze frame. A figure in shadows. Tampering. Not Jake. A woman. Hooded. Lila?
No. Bland. Slight.
My heart stopped. The sender. The real secret. Emily. You're not the only ghost. Twist's knife twisted deeper. 2025 crept in like a debtor. Bills piling emotional. Literal.
Tesha twins.
Mia and Luca. Filled the brownstone with chaos and crayons. Their giggles a balm on old wounds. 5 and 7. Gap-toothed wonders who called me Emmy, tugging at skirts for stories of the bad guys you beat. I spun sanitized tales, cops and robbers. No elevators or X's. Stability. Finally. In bedtime routines and Theo's steady hand. But the video gnawed. A splinter under skin. I showed Reyes. Her office in Foley Square, a fortress of files. Enhance it, I demanded. Tech geeks worked magic. The figure sharpened, Dr. Ellis. My therapist. Betrayal's hydra sprouted heads. She'd infiltrated sessions. Probing not for healing, but intel for Harlan, his insurance policy. A mole in my inner circle. Ellis. Voss plant from the 90s adoption scam. Feeding back my delusions to discredit if I ever turned. Rage volcanic. I stormed her Park Avenue practice, bursting into the waiting room mid-session. You bitch. Patience scattered. She rose, composed as ever. Emily. This isn't. I slapped the printout down, her in the elevator bank, toolkit in hand. Sabotage. You rigged it. Why? Her facade cracked. Silver hair disheveled. Harlan's orders. You were digging too close, the adoption records, the trust. He couldn't risk exposure. Exposure. Of what? I'm his daughter. That's the big secret. Laughter. Bitter. Daughter?
Oh.
Honey. You're the experiment. Harlan's fertility clinic side hustle, cloned embryos, black market babies. You were prototype, sold to your dad to test viability. Lila knew we all did.
Jake?
He married you to monitor.
Cloned.
The word hollowed me. Not reborn, remade? My reset. The Trung sin, a glitch in their god complex? Nausea surged. I bolted, vomiting in the alley. World tilting. Theo found me there. Reyes trailing.
Em Jesus.
We drove in silence. Brooklyn Bridge lights streaking like tears. Home. I unraveled. DNA retest confirming anomalies.
Chimeric marker screaming librat.
Media frenzy reignited. Harper's horror. Cloned heir to crime empire? Pundits debated ethics. Playing God. Corporate eugenics. Controversial decision 3. Sue the clinic. Expose the underground network. Or bury it. Reclaim normalcy for the kids?
Isud.
Presser at Vanguard's old rival. Now my ally. This isn't about me. It's about every stolen child. Every manipulated life. Lawsuits flew. Clinics shuttered. Whistleblowers crawled out. But cost? Theo's firm lost clients. Too hot. Custody review loomed again. Judge Stern. MS. Harper. Your pursuit's border obsession. Obsession. Revenge's siren call. Ellis vanished, fled to Europe. Harlan's jet. I chased. P.I. Rocco on payroll. Tracked to a villa in Tuscany. Wine country idol. Theo begged. Let it go.
Eminência.
For us.
Us.
The family I'd stitched from scraps. But echoes demanded closure. Flight to Florence. Solo, Theo grounded by hearings. Rental Fiat hugging Cyprus roads. Heart pounding like drums. The villa perched on a hill. Olive's silver undermoon. I scaled the wall. Shadows my ally. Wire in pocket for Reyes. Ellis lounged poolside. Gin fizz in hand. Unaware. Doctor. She yelped. Spilling. Emily? How? I held the printout like a cross. Endgame. Harlan's full confession. On tape. Or, I call Interpol now. She deflated. Pouring another.
Fine.
The clone program, 80s folly.
Tsebatsked.
You were viable, others.
Not.
Harlan kept you close. Controlled the narrative. The elevator? To trigger a recall, stress test your stability. You survived the fall?
No.
Died.
But.
Anomaly. Woke up. Woke up. My reincarnation. Their experiments echo. And the reset? Planned. Laughter.
Fluke.
Quantum bullshit. Harlan's pseudoscience. But it worked. You came back. Exposed us. Tape rolled. She spilled coordinates. Names, global ring of biopirates. Dawn broke as feds raided. Ellis in cuffs.
Sobbing.
You're a monster. Like him. Monster. Mirror cracked. Back stateside. Indictments snowballed. Senators resigned. Biotech stocks tanked. I was Time's Person of the Year, the Echo Avenger. But victory hollowed. Theo waited at JFK. Arms open, but eyes wary. Kids asked for you, said Emmy's fighting dragons. Dragons slain. But at what cost? Spring equinox. Cherry blossoms defiant. Custody finalized. Full to Theo. Supervised visits for me. Instability, the ruling cited. Heart shattered. But I nodded. Protect them. Alone in the brownstone. Ghosts crowded. Jake's sneer. Lila's hiss. Harlan's gaze. Ellis's words looped. Fluke.
Was it?
Or design. A final email pinged, anonymous. The anomaly persists. Watch for echoes. Climax brewed. Unspoken. Summer 2025 baked the city. Asphalt shimmering like regret. I sublet the brownstone. Crashed in a no-frills loft in Dumbo. Views of the bridge a reminder of crossings made. Bridges burned. Theo co-parented gracefully. Texts warm. Mia drew you as superhero. Miss you.
Miss.
Ache like withdrawal. Work. Freelance. Consulting. Ethics audits for startups leery of my fame. The Harper touch. Brand born of blood. Priced premium. But the anomaly haunted. Quantum echo. Harlan's ravings. Dismissed as crank. Yet dreams shifted. Not plummets. But labs sterile white. Vials glowing. A younger me on a table. Wires humming. Woke sweating. Pulse racing. Reyes checked in. Ellis flipped. Full network mapped. You're clear.
Clear.
Lies clung. Controversy crested at a TEDx in Boston. Invite for resilience in the face of betrayal. Stage lights hot. Crowd expectant. I spoke raw. Revenge isn't closure. It's a mirror. Staring back. You see yourself flaws. Fury. The family you forged or fled. Applause thundered. Q&A turned knife. MS. Harper. Cloning do you feel? Human?
Pause.
More than ever. Because I chose my echoes. Post-talk. A fan lingered, 30s. Sharp suit. Eyes familiar. Inspiring. Harlan, be proud.
Chill. Who?
Nephew.
Distant.
He ranted about you. The perfect failure. Failure. The word ignited. Tailed him to a Cambridge lab. Biotech startup Echo Genomics. Irony looped eternal. Infiltrated as consultant. My name opened doors. CEO. Dr.
Vance.
Ellis's protege. Slick with venture scars. Emily Harper. The legend. Tor. Gene sequencers. Cryopods. Buried server. Files on Project Reverb Resurrection Tech. Neural uploads. Funded by Voss Remnants. My reset? Not fluke. Harlan's final play. Uploading my dying brainwave. Rebooting in the past via experimental neural link. Death triggered it. Survival impossible. Horror dawned. I wasn't soul reborn. I was code, ghost in the machine. Looped to avenge. Vance cornered me in the sublevel. You were the proof of concept. Harlan bet big. Immortality through grudge.
Grudge.
My fuel. And now. He smirked. Upgrade. Join us. Or delete. Fight or flight cliché. But fists flew. I smashed a console. Alarms wailing. Data purging in digital fire. Vance lunged. I dodged. Knee to gut. Fleeing into rain-slick streets. Sirens wailed. Feds swarmed. Vance in irons. Reyes. How'd you know? Lie. Echoes. Cleanup. Echo genomics raised. Tech classified. I vanished. New name. Seattle Burbs. Teaching ethics at a community college. Theo reached out. Heard about Boston. Doors open. Open. But kids first, supervised playdates. Building blocks over bombs. Fall leaves turned. Anniversary of reset. Stood on a ferry. Puget Sound churning. Phone buzzed. Final anonymous. Loop complete. Choose. Revenge eternal.
Or peace.
Twist's end. I deleted the thread. Tossed the burner into waves.
Peace.
Not happy, scarred. But whole. Echoes faded. Emily Harper. Whatever her code. Chose forward. Epilogue whisper. In dreams. Sometimes. The elevator hums. But I step aside.